I'm Ethan Miller, 35, live in my small row home. The routine was always the same, a comfortable quiet filling the days. But underneath that routine, there was this emptiness, regret for what I hadn't done, for the chances I'd let slip away. I felt time just running out, like I wasn't really living, failing to make it or live my best life. I'd look, but I wouldn't really see. My reflection seemed distant, just lost in my own regrets. Days were all the same. Wake up, coffee, work at Liberty Archives. Then night, silence, loneliness. That was my only companion, even here in South Philly. Another night, cold dinner, TV on, but I wasn't really watching. The days just dragged, and I didn't feel like I was living. That morning, looking in the mirror, I saw a new wrinkle. My reflection looked older, with this weird fatigue. It wasn't me. Every morning, more wrinkles, more white hairs popped up in the reflection. His eyes had a tiredness that wasn't mine, but it felt like it was pulling me in. It was a bitter version, loaded with a deep resentment. Like all the anti-aging ads I saw were suddenly laughing at me. That fixed stare, full of resentment, judged me without words. I tried to look away, but it just pulled me back to the guilt I already felt. I changed the light, scrubbed the mirror hard, covered it, trying to deny. But when I uncovered it, the reflection was still there, aged, with the same resentment. The mirror seemed to have become a doorway to something haunting me. One morning, I wasn't paying attention. Then I noticed. The reflection's lips trembled. It blinked a second later than I did. A heavy sigh came from it, not from me. That wasn't just my image anymore. It was something more, separate. Between my back turned, I felt the reflection's heavy stare. It was like it was always there, judging me. A cold shadow on the back of my neck. I didn't have any privacy anymore. I avoided the bathroom, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. The reflection's bitter gaze chased me, and the weight of my loneliness became unbearable, with no escape. The whispers came from the mirror, but they felt like they were in my head. You could have done more. Look what you've become. It was my own failures, repeated by the reflection's aged mouth. A constant judgment that just ate me up inside. The emptiness of loneliness filled up with guilt. And every day, I felt like I was losing control of my own mind. Desperate, I called Daniel. I tried to explain about the mirror, the wrinkles. Daniel, with this forced concerned tone, suggested stress. You just need to chill out, Ethan. Maybe a trip? Get some therapy? The lack of understanding just made the emptiness in me worse. Nobody would believe it. That fear, the confusion, and the resentment, they were all mine alone. The changes weren't just in the mirror, but in me. My hair, once dark, now had white strands. The skin on my neck seemed looser, and tiredness was a constant weight. I felt taken over, like the time stolen by the reflection was being collected from my real body. Every day was a torture of fear and confusion. Then, the hammer dropped. I couldn't move, just felt the cold invading me. The reflection stared, eyes full of a rage that wasn't mine, but it seemed to consume me. My breath hitched. The mirror held me, forcing me to see that bitter version of myself. A freezing dread paralyzed me, and the question of what was coming next choked me. My heart was hammering. Thin, bony fingers with yellowish nails almost touched me. I wanted to scream, to run, but my body wouldn't respond, paralyzed. I felt the mirror's cold breath on my skin, a smell of mold and old age, like you find in these old Philly row homes. That hand was lost time, the resentment eating me up, coming to collect. I was trapped, and I couldn't run. My breath was caught, my chest tight. The mirror, even far away, seemed to follow me, with that resentful stare that just wouldn't let me go. The aged image just stayed there, staring at me, its eyes empty, but loaded with a bitterness that took hold of me, a terror that was eating away at my sanity. I needed to get away. The whole house seemed to be watching me. Every shadow, every corner, loaded with that stare. I just wanted to escape from there. The reflection's tiredness seemed to have hit me. My mind, once restless, now just felt a weight, an immense emptiness. The experience left me marked forever. The dark cloth didn't help. I felt its stare pierce through me, even with the mirror covered. The resentment still burned me. I sealed off the bathroom, smashed the mirrors, covered every reflective surface. My life became a constant escape. Every step dictated by fear. Paranoia was the new routine. Its stare followed me, a cold presence on the back of my neck, judging every step. I felt the reflection's resentment, even without seeing it. The worst came. Wrinkles and white hairs appeared on my face and in my hair. The stolen time was real, visible. Each mark a sting. The reflection's bitter voice echoed in my mind. A monologue of regret and guilt consumed me. I was my own tormentor. Nobody understands. I've told people, but they just see someone exhausted. The emptiness I feel is like a mirror without a reflection, and the certainty that it'll never stop just eats me alive. My name's Elias Vance. I'm 35, and I live alone. My life was this unchangeable, predictable routine. Alarm, strong black coffee, the daily paper, work, dinner, reading. Identical days just dragged on, no big surprises. Something subtly shifted. I started researching optics, moved furniture around, trying to explain it away as a trick of the light or just eye strain. But the uncertainty hung around. Every creak, every drip turned into a sharp alarm. My muscles wouldn't relax. I was always waiting for something more. That feeling of peace, so present before, just vanished. One night, a weird pull kept drawing me to the mirror, to that deep darkness. The empty apartment filled up with an invisible, icy presence. The solitude I used to cherish now crushed me, dissolving any idea of refuge. In the early hours, I woke up gasping for air, freezing cold. The dark corner of the mirror was stuck in my mind. That's when a faint but constant scratching started coming from the mirror. It sounded like a fingernail on wood. I tried to convince myself it was just the old building settling, or the wind hitting something outside. But the sound was always the same, and it came from right there. That movement in the mirror wasn't just a blur anymore. For a split second, I saw something thin, almost like a hunched person, but it vanished too quickly. My head throbbed from trying so hard to understand what it was, and the quiet of the apartment, once a comfort, now suffocated me. One day, my favorite novel, which I'd left carefully on the coffee table, was on the floor, right in front of the mirror. There was no draft, nobody else home. My stomach dropped. The cold near the mirror became constant, an illogical chill, even with the heater on. Every time I passed by, I'd get this weird shiver, like something was touching me. A muffled whisper came from the mirror. I froze, my heart racing. Did I actually hear that? The doubt ate at me. I couldn't take it anymore. The sheet, which used to protect me, was useless. Voices seemed to scream in my head, a confusing chorus that made me nauseous. In the reflection, I saw my face contorted, and the shadow moved behind me, even with the mirror covered. A chill ran up my spine, and terror tightened around my throat. That wasn't just a mirror. It was a window to something invading me. The quiet of the apartment, once a safe haven, was now a prison of torment. After the coffee mug incident, I just stared at the shards on the floor. My heart pounded hard, a drum in my chest. The icy feeling didn't stop. It followed me. Something invisible was there, breathing the same air I was. The house, my refuge, had another presence. Unwelcome. Stealing my breath. The solitude I'd wanted so badly turned into a dread of being accompanied by something I couldn't see. My body locked up. I couldn't move a muscle, just felt the cold of the heavy air wrap around me. That thing, faceless, an icy presence, kept coming, slow, dragging footsteps echoing in my mind. My eyes burned from trying so hard to understand what it was, from searching for an explanation. But there wasn't one. It was just the thing and me, paralyzed. My breath hitched. The table lamp went right through, like the thing wasn't there, but it was. I felt its cold, a cold that burned. I dragged myself backward, my back hitting the cold wall. There was nowhere to go. The dark presence advanced, slow, relentless, filling the space I had left. I could only close my eyes, feeling the air grow heavier, colder. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. This was it. I knew. The apartment, once a refuge, was now the setting for a nightmare. The cold stopped. My breathing came back, but the silence that followed was a heavy, worse kind of emptiness. The shadow vanished in the mirror, swallowed by the darkness. My body relaxed, but the emptiness persisted. My body suddenly unlocked. A violent gasp of air tore through my throat, my chest still throbbing with the frantic beat. I was shaking badly, but I managed to stumble back from the mirror. The apartment fell into an oppressive silence. Nothing else, but its absence was worse. Any little noise startled me. I stared at the mirror, the dark corner still there. The shadow was gone, but my pale, ghost-like reflection stared back at me. My back hit the cold wall. The icy floor seemed to hug me. My body trembled, and my heart still hammered in my chest. Relief and fear got all mixed up. The mirror was an impossible weight to remove, a dark hole that called to me. My eyes, even when I tried to look away, always darted back to that corner, a living reminder of what had happened. Sounds and shadows turned into a constant alert. Every nerve in my body was on edge. My chest tightened at any noise. That old tranquility was replaced by constant uncertainty and vigilance. The solitude I once wanted now terrified me. The apartment watched me. The silence screaming the haunting presence. Sleep became torment. Nightmares pulled me into the darkness. I'd wake up gasping for air, the black room suffocating me. I looked for logical explanations, but nothing fit. I started to seriously doubt my own sanity. What was real? The doubt just consumed me. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 32. My life was basically a chain of habits. Wake up at 6, strong coffee, the Seattle Times app, then the office. Predictability? That was my whole deal. In the bathroom, I'd face the mirror. My reflection was always there, part of the routine. It always followed me, never gave me any reason to think twice. But one morning, I blinked. When I opened my eyes, my reflection still had its eyes closed, and it was smiling. My apartment, which used to be my sanctuary, suddenly felt off. The solitude I always loved, it just felt heavy now. And the reflection, it went from being just there to being a real nuisance. I tried to compose myself, slowly, looking at my face in the mirror. I was just looking for some calm, some normalcy. The smile came back, even slower this time. The reflection's eyes were still closed. My heart pounded. I tried to laugh, but nothing came out. This couldn't be real. The mirror was just staring back, and I had no idea what to do. My mind screamed, "Trick of the light." But I felt this cold, hard truth, a silent invasion that chilled me right to the bone. The uncertainty felt like a heavy weight. I moved my hand slowly, hesitant. The reflection lagged for a split second, a tiny delay. I held my breath. No trick. That perfect sync, gone. A cold shiver went right up my spine. My own image was betraying me. I looked at the pen on the table, right where I'd left it, in the mirror. That same pen was on the floor, next to the reflection. A chill ran down the back of my neck. Something was mocking me, invading my space without actually touching a thing. I felt this shiver. That mouth, silent. It looked like it was saying something was wrong, that it knew something I didn't. The smile was just a taunt. A quiet way was getting into my head. I felt a knot in my throat, like I couldn't get enough air. My breathing got heavy. The reflection, one eye open, one closed, was looking at me with a smile that wasn't mine. I moved, but it didn't quite follow, like it had its own life now. Putting my hand to my face did nothing. The image in the mirror stayed distorted, twisting me into something that wasn't me. My head just kept aching, all the time. The sight of it made me sick to my stomach. I tried to look away, but it was no use. It just seemed to lock me in. On my phone screen, the reflection moved its mouth, like it was whispering something I couldn't hear. A shiver went right through me. I started avoiding anything reflective, just walking with my head down. But the image, it just stuck in my head. I felt like I was losing control, my own mind turning on me. The loneliness I felt, it became this huge, gaping hole. My chest tightened. That smile and the finger pointing right at my chest made me stumble back, tripping over myself. I could barely breathe. It was this terrifying invitation for it to just take my spot. The whole gesture haunted me, like a quiet wound. Not knowing what it wanted, it just stole my sleep. I was terrified I'd see it when I closed my eyes. I started trembling, fell to my knees, my legs just giving out. The twisted smile, the noise in my head, and that crushing image just stole my breath. I felt this emptiness in my chest, like something had been ripped right out of me. My head was spinning, and the doubt about who I really was just ate at me. I didn't know who I was anymore. The isolation felt so heavy, and the fear of being taken, it just paralyzed me. I just collapsed. My reflection, with its back to me, living my life in my Ballard apartment, left me breathless. I was the one trapped, watching from inside the mirror. My mind was screaming. It had taken my place. I was lost. The doubt crushed me. That terror of being replaced, it just left a new kind of mark. Then a sudden flash. The lights flickered in the apartment, and the reflection in the mirror just glitched, distorted for a second. My body shuddered. My head was spinning. The air felt thick and heavy. I felt a cold dread in my gut, like something had been ripped out of me and then just shoved back in. I didn't know who I was anymore. The mirror was empty now, just reflecting the room. That evil reflection was gone, but the void it left behind, that was terrifying. A heavy silence filled everything. Even with it gone, I could still feel it there. A loud knock on the door made me jump. It was my neighbor, Mr. Peterson, coming to check on me after all the noise and the power flickering out. I tried to say something, but only a grunt came out. Mr. Peterson offered me a flashlight. Not getting it at all. I could only just babble. How was I supposed to explain that my reflection had stolen me? Mr. Peterson just stared at me, totally confused. No one would get it. The loneliness this whole thing brought on, it was just suffocating me. Ever since then, every single mirror is a threat. I avoid any reflection. I just look away. The fear of seeing that smile again, it consumes me. It traps me. Why did it do that? Why me specifically? These questions just eat away at me with no answer, just this emptiness and the memory of that smile. The images from that day just keep repeating. The smile, the closed eyes. My mind is like a broken mirror now. It only ever shows me the horror. People look at me differently now. They don't believe me. That disbelief just isolates me, throws me into a kind of loneliness that just eats at me. I have no one. My name is Ethan Thorne. I wake with the morning light, cherishing the quiet calm. Strong black coffee, the day's headlines. Then it's off to work, just like any other day. Our family moved through their usual morning routines, but my gaze kept drifting to the guest room. A gnawing unease gripped me. They didn't see what I saw. This growing disquiet was mine alone. Inside the guest room, a biting cold invaded me. The faint smell of damp earth. Objects, like a framed photograph, were subtly out of place. My mind struggled to comprehend, but found no answers. At night, soft, dragging sounds emanated from the room. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, feeling unseen eyes upon me. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by a consuming dread. My eyes were fixated on the mirror. I'd stare at it for hours, waiting for something. A cold knot tightening in my stomach. The unsettling doubt had become a heavy weight in my mind. Buddy sprinted down the hallway, darting into the guest room. My eyes darted to the mirror. Empty. His reflection was gone. My chest tightened. It couldn't be. I called Buddy back. "Come here, boy." He trotted past. I looked. Nothing. The mirror remained empty. I tried different angles, searching for a trick of the light. There was none. I tried to get Buddy to enter the room. He let out a low, guttural growl, his hackles raised. He recoiled, trembling, his eyes fixed on the door, with a terror I'd never witnessed. This wasn't the Buddy I knew. I stood, transfixed by the mirror. A dark blur streaked across it, vanishing before I could focus. My blood ran cold. There was something there. I stood frozen, the air around me icy. A shiver crawled up my spine. From the mirror, a whisper. Not words, but an overwhelming presence. The hairs on my arms stood on end. A wave of dread washed over me. I fled the room, but the oppressive feeling lingered. In the living room, I searched for my lighter on the coffee table. It wasn't there. I returned to the guest room. There, on the dresser, it waited for me. A knot tightened in my throat. The manifestations grew. I felt icy touches on the back of my neck, even when alone in the living room. Inaudible whispers, calling my name, drifted from the guest room. My home, once a sanctuary, had become a constant source of torment. I tried to ignore it, but terror had taken root. Buddy's behavior worsened. He'd growl and bark at empty spaces, whimpering in distress, refusing to enter any rooms that faced the guest room. I tried to explain to Olivia, but she chalked it all up to my stress and exhaustion, telling me I was imagining things. I felt completely isolated, with no one to truly understand. Feeling like a stranger in my own home, I eventually went to clean the guest room. In the closet, I found a dusty Ouija board. A shiver ran down my spine. I remembered adolescent spirit board sessions, nervous laughter, that strange, unsettling feeling. Now, whispers seemed to emanate directly from the board, calling my name, as if that youthful game had been warped into a torment designed just for me. The shadows in the guest room mirror were no longer fleeting glimpses. They moved, dense and formless, contorting into grotesque shapes that stole my breath. A vase of flowers flew from the room, shattering violently in the hallway. Windows sprang open on their own, releasing a cold that pierced to the bone. The malevolent presence seemed to envelop me in every corner of the house. I couldn't take it anymore. Desperate, exhausted, my heart hammering in my chest, I stumbled into the guest room. The mirror pulsed with a dark, blinding light. A nebulous form rose, reaching out towards me, suffocating me. I felt a silent scream tear through my mind, fighting to stay conscious. My sanity was hanging by a thread. Olivia pulled me back, a sharp cry bringing me back to awareness. I gasped, coughing, as air flooded my lungs. The form recoiled and vanished into the mirror. She embraced me, trembling. As Olivia pulled me, the shadow writhed, sucked back into the mirror. A dry crack echoed, and the darkness dissipated. I collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. My body shook uncontrollably, shock overwhelming me. Olivia held me tight. The room fell silent, but the mirror's cold still bit at my skin. Olivia held me close, her voice choked with emotion. She spoke of exhaustion, optical illusions, desperately trying to rationalize. I could only feel the sheer terror, unable to articulate it. Olivia held me, but I was utterly alone. What I had witnessed isolated me completely. She couldn't possibly grasp the horror, which now belonged only to me. The silence of the house offered no peace. Creaks and shifting shadows made me hold my breath. The apprehension was constant. I couldn't bring myself to look at that mirror. Its empty surface was an open wound, a constant reminder of what lurked within. Olivia continued to try and explain everything logically, but I felt a knot of dread in my stomach, burdened by the solitude of carrying the inexplicable. Buddy would still growl, hackles raised. His terror was living proof that the horror in that room was no mere figment of my imagination. Constant nightmares plagued me. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, feeling icy touches. The sensation of being watched never left me in peace. Not knowing the truth tortured me. The origin of the entity, an endless mystery. The lack of answers became the deepest scar. My name is Eleanor Vance, and I'm 30. My life used to hum along, pretty quiet and predictable. Mornings were always the same, then work, then evenings with books or shows. Just routines, no surprises. It was one of those mornings, right after my shower, when I first noticed the dark stain. It was in the corner of my bathroom mirror, looking kind of like mold. I scrubbed hard, but it wouldn't come off. Over the next few days, the stain just kept growing, getting darker. I started to feel this weird unease, you know? I'd watch people on the street, all so busy. Nobody seemed to care about anything beyond their own bubble. I was stuck with the stain, totally alone. Then the stain changed. It wasn't mold anymore. Dark lines started forming, like an outline. I felt this sick feeling in my stomach. It was like something was being shaped there, a blurry, shapeless form. I tried to rationalize it, blaming the light or just being tired. But the image just stuck. This creepy chill would crawl up my spine whenever I got close to the mirror, all unsure. In a blink, my own reflection was just gone. Instead, a dark, almost human outline stared back at me. An empty silhouette, a not me that flashed into existence and then vanished. My legs gave out, and I just crumpled to the cold bathroom floor. My head was spinning. All the air went right out of my lungs. It couldn't be real, but I swear I saw it. Who can I even tell? Nobody would believe something like that. It was just mine, a heavy secret choking me. My own image invaded, and only I could see it. The loneliness just squeezed my chest. One night, a subtle sound came from the bathroom. It wasn't the wind or just house noises. It was an empty whisper, like something wanted to get out of there, sucking the air right out of my chest. I tried to ignore the whisper, pretended not to hear it. For days, I avoided the mirror, but curiosity won out. I looked up weird stains, optical illusions, but nothing fit. I bought cleaning products, scrubbed with this frantic anger. The stain, with its hints of a face, just got darker, like it was mocking me, deepening itself. I gave up on the mirror, but the thing didn't stay put. The silhouette popped up in the corner of my eye, on the dark living room window at night. A quick blur, barely there. Then my tablet screen, when it was off, turned into another mirror. I'd catch my reflection for a second, and the shadow would be there, right behind me. My heart would just race. I started doubting everything, even my own mind. Desperation really hit me then. I called Jessica, my closest friend. I tried to explain, my voice all shaky, about the stain and the silhouette staring at me. She listened, sounding concerned, but just said I must be stressed, suggested I get some rest. I hung up with this hollow feeling in my chest, and the sense of being alone just grew worse. I went to the bathroom, needing to see myself. In the mirror, my face wasn't there. Just the dark silhouette, sharp and clear, looking back. I tried to lift my hand, and it did the same, but its fingers looked too long, twisted. A shiver ran down my neck. My image was gone, replaced by this emptiness that mimicked me, stealing what I was, just sucking me in. My chest tightened. The silhouette in the mirror opened its mouth, and a harsh, guttural sound filled the bathroom. You don't matter, Eleanor. No one remembers you. My legs gave out, and I dropped to my knees. Always alone, always forgotten. The voice was mine, twisted, like poison. I covered my ears, but it just flooded my head. I felt something inside me just drain away, turning to dust. The mirror was sucking me dry from the inside out. A wave of panic just washed over me. I grabbed a ceramic coffee mug. With a scream, I smashed the mirror with force. I wanted to break it, to stop the invasion, to free myself. The glass exploded into 1,000 sharp shards. The dark silhouette let out a high-pitched, distorted scream in my head, vanishing along with the pieces. A heavy silence fell. I was gasping, shaking uncontrollably, kneeling among the shards, deep in shock and just frozen. My body wouldn't respond. Then my apartment door burst open. Jessica walked in, pale with fright. She saw the shards, me on the floor, but not the shadow that made me break everything. Jessica pulled me up. We left the apartment, but I could feel its presence, the shadow following me, like a second skin. Jessica tried to calm me, but I was just in shock mute. The shadow was still there, a cold weight. She couldn't see it, and the loneliness wrapped around me, impenetrable. Ever since then, I avoid any reflection. Windows, mirrors, even my phone screen. I'm scared of what I see, or actually, what I don't see in myself. Its voice, cold, repeats, "You don't matter." Every single word crushes me, makes me feel like nothing. It's what I always feared. I've pulled away from everyone. How do you even explain what I see? Nobody would understand. I live in silence and suspicion now. I've covered all the mirrors. Walking down the street is a torment. I swerve away from storefronts. My apartment is dark now. No reflections anywhere. It's not just in the mirror anymore. The shadow has become part of me. An invisible weight crushing me from the inside. A constant reminder of the invasion.